Good morning, everybody. Another episode of the Keep Going podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health, sponsored by Me Too We LLC. The best of the business, Joe Bush, is actually speaking at Me Too We today, but we're not there because we're shooting this podcast. Nick Clark is here. Nick, what up, baby?
What's going on? Thanks for having me on. Good
Hey,
morning.
it's always good to have three Rock Valley guys on the call this morning. It's a blessing to say the least. So shout out Golden Eagle Ball and shout out Chad P. Heron while we're here. David Mitchell, what's going on, baby?
How we doing? When we have three RVC guys on the episode, you know it's going to be a good one. I'm
I
excited
hope
for
so.
today.
I hope so, Dave. Let's do it, baby. So Nick, this is a cool one because obviously you were one of my NCSA guys. You were someone that went on to play at Rock Valley. Even better, you asked to come on today. So I know you got some stuff to share, man. Why'd you want to come on the podcast? Talk to me.
Yeah, man. Just because I'm seeing the product you guys have been pushing, and I believe everything that you guys are doing. Pat, I mean, this goes back to when I was 15, 16 years old. So, um, thought I'd shoot you a text. It's been just wanted to come on, just hang out with the guys. Got three RVC dudes and chop it up for a little bit. So.
No, I appreciate that. And your story's been a cool one, man. We talked about it a little bit in the prelude.
Yeah.
Cali guy come out to Detroit. Could have went the whole Detroit, Michigan kind of route and JUCO scene, but you came out to Rockford, man. So let's talk about baseball first.
Yep.
When did the ball get put in your hand, and did you know it was going to be baseball right away?
To be honest, man, it was one of those things that it was probably a year old, 2 years old. My dad always raised me and my brother. When we were babies, from what he's told me, it's just he puts us in front of the TV with the baseball game on. We'll watch it, and we just fell in love with it at a very, very young age. And then as we got older, it was just there's discipline. There's a lot of things that you learn from the game of baseball, and I learned a lot of life lessons while growing up. So it started out when I was very, very young.
Yeah, I got another question for you on that. Who was the first person to be like, hey, Nick Clark, I think you could play this game in college?
I mean, I had a lot of, I would say, I mean, obviously you could say my dad, you can say, the people around me, but the first actual coach that it was like outside of my parents and my family was Coach Grinstead. He's
Shout the
actually
boy out. Shout the boy out.
Coach Grinstead. Shout out him, but he's still around in my life. He comes over every now and then. I see him every week, so he's been he was my head coach when I want to say like 7, 8, and then I rolled with him till I was about 14, and then from 14 I had to leave, and I went and played for different travel organizations. But yeah,
No doubt. No doubt.
So.
And Nick, if I get anything, man, I get how the JUCO recruiting process goes, and I get being how do the kids say it these days, Dave? I'm getting old. Slept on. I get how it feels to get a little bit slept on. I think in your process at times, you felt like you weren't getting the love you deserved. Talked about like the mental health side of that and what you went through kind of in high school.
No, yeah, I mean, for me personally, I mean, I think when I was that 15, 16 years old, when that whole process started, I knew for me, I wanted to get bigger, faster, stronger. So, my older brother went JUCO out of high school as well. So I kind of got introduced to that side of the game pretty early, as far as developing and stuff like that. So as far as the slept on stuff like that, I mean, when it comes to the notoriety and that type of stuff, when it comes to the game of baseball in the state of Michigan, I mean, I was up there. So like, I didn't really feel like I was getting slept on. It was more of a decision, to be honest, man, that I felt like an opportunity presented itself, and I was you know 16 years old whenever that process started with us. I felt like it was one of those things that it was something I already wanted to do, but then the opportunity just got presented to me. And I was like, everything that they're doing up in Rockford, everything, the plans that they have, it just seemed like a good fit for me to get away from home, go to a whole new environment, and then I just rolled with it. So
Yeah, Dave, I know you were in a similar situation back in the day, man. Were you having similar feelings to this? Like, what was your feeling when you came on campus that first time, man?
Yeah, I think for myself, I was very uncertain. And I dealt with a lot of self-doubt going into the transition from high school to college. I didn't really know what to expect. I was going to a different location, not from my hometown. I'm away from my parents for the first time. It's a big transition. And I think my roommates, shout out Bill and Brock, they helped me get a little bit more comfortable, and it's who you surround yourself with. But how did you deal with that, Nick? When you moved from, you said Michigan
Yeah, yep.
Yes.
to Illinois, how was your transition, and what advice would you give to anyone that's going through that?
For sure,
Yeah.
man. So in my story, it was a pretty unique one, to be honest. So when I got recruited, I actually grabbed two of my boys from Michigan. Okay, so Coach Heron, offered Lucas Rick, who is now at Western Michigan, and then Joey Wise, who is not no longer playing. But us three kind of made that transition together, which, to be honest, man, it made it a lot easier for obviously us three because we were, we knew each other going out there. Our parents knew each other, played travel ball together for years. But I think the biggest, if you're a kid, man, that's, say it's the same position I was in from Michigan to Illinois, is just keep yourself not only distracted, but hang out with the people that you spend most of your days with outside of just the game of baseball, because not only you get a lot more relationships, and stuff like that, friends you call friends forever, but they also make that that transition a lot easier for you being in an environment that you've never seen before. So the biggest thing for me, I would say, like, outside of obviously Lucas and Joey, but um, we would make an effort to hang out with our teammates, or go do something, or whether it's going to Chicago for a day, whatever. It was that kind of made that transition a lot easier. And on top of it, I mean, shout out the guys, bro. The guys they were very welcoming when I came out there. So
Yeah, I think it's important to have your people, and I think it's important to, I don't know, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. But
oh,
it
100%,
can be hard.
100%.
It can be hard at like 18,
Yeah,
19 years old, like obviously doing this for a living. Like it can be uncomfortable, like, which we
yeah,
all get. Speaking of that, man, I mean, obviously the preface of this podcast is the keep going moment, right?
yep,
As you go through time, everybody has a keep going moment or two throughout life. Talk about
yeah.
yours, man. What was a moment that could have knocked you out of the game, knocked you down? How'd you get through it?
Um, if I mean, the one big thing when it comes to the game of baseball was that specific throw at Northern Illinois University. It
Yeah,
was in the
talk about it.
fall. Yeah, it was in the fall. Getting ready to go to NIU to play them in I think it was like a 14 inning scrimmage, something like that. And with me being the freshman and stuff like that, I was having a good fall. Okay, so Coach Heron, I mean, Northern Illinois was, that's a school that it's right down the road, mid major. I mean, I had some interest in them, so preparing for that, I mean, I took it a little bit more serious, stuff like that, and then we go to NIU, and it was about I want to say like third or fourth inning. Dude hit a slow roller to my right, threw it on the run, and then when I threw it, my whole arm went numb. Uh, Kind of, it was one of those things where, like, it happened, but like you think you can like push through it type of thing. So I was like, my arm is just, it's, just, it's fine. I'm just going to keep on playing. And then after the game, I go to, I go to our trainer. I let her know. She told me that, yeah, you could have had some, you know, just a little tweak in the arm. Probably got to take a couple days off, type of thing. You know what I mean? Which that's kind of what I rolled with. I started doing. I mean, the taking care of yourself aspect while playing that many games is a big important key to staying healthy. But it was the first time in my life where I ever felt like I was not only doubting myself because I went through that, but I didn't know what the future held, because I knew something was wrong with my arm. So go to Coach Aaron, tell him that, the whole story. He shuts me down for a little bit. He took care of me a lot. The whole training staff at Rock Valley took care of me. So shout out them making that, that little first aspect, or, easier for myself. And so come back home for Christmas break, go get an MRI. They tell me that pretty much shoulder was just not exploded, but I got a torn labrum. I got 2 torn labrums. Doctor comes to me. He's like, "Hey man, like probably gonna have to do surgery." So my freshman year, that was a very I would say that month-long Christmas break was probably the hardest part of that year for myself, just because it was the first time where I felt like I was getting taken away from the game of baseball. On top of the fact of all the plans and the things that I was working for up until that point, just seemed like it got taken away from me. So the biggest thing for me on how I got through that, dude, was just honestly keeping myself distracted. When I went back to Rock Valley, there was, like I said, Coach Heron, there'd be days where, I mean, there's one day that sticks out very, very normal, or like sticks out to me. We were at practice, and I told Coach Heron, like, I wanted to, give it a full go type of thing. We're in the gym, and I made another throw, and the same thing happened, and I just kind of flipped out, and that was, flipped out in the middle of practice. I'm supposed to be, the leader, stuff like that, and that happened. I had to told Coach Aaron, told Coach, all the coaches, all my guys, they're like, "Hey man, like that's not me," type of thing. And it was just, I honestly felt like it was just something that I've never, like, we're talking about being uncomfortable, you know what I mean? And it was a situation where I was very, very uncomfortable because I knew my body wasn't at 100%. And so the biggest thing for me on how I got through that, man, was just trusting everything that I was doing was for the better of myself. Whether it's me spending an hour and a half in the training room making sure I get the treatment, or me doing armbands, or just throwing lightly, or just stuff like that. It's just all the little things that go into it that you just have to trust in that process. And so, I mean, also again, man, shout out to the guys too. So they made that process a little easier too, as far as keeping me distracted, keeping me confident in myself, and stuff like that. So
Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that. I know it's a darker time in your career.
yeah.
How did you get clarity and perspective? Was it something that somebody said? Was it you just figuring it out? How did you get that clarity and perspective and the ability to keep on moving forward?
To be honest, man, it was there was a lot of self-doubt during that time. The clarity, man, older brother, he's been through this process a lot. He's been through, the injuries and stuff like that. He's a catcher, so he has a little bit worse, but you just got to keep on going. You know what I mean? It's life it doesn't pause for you, type of thing. So for me personally, that clarity honestly just came from the people around me, my support group. I would talk to them and tell them kind of where I'm at, and they were just like, "Dude, you just gotta just understand, not only understand the process, but trust that process, that everything you're doing is for the better of you." And that's kind of where I got that clarity. So
No, I like that a bunch, and that's big, Nick, because a lot of our listeners are college coaches, players,
yeah,
parents. So I think that's big. That even when that stuff, I remember all this, right? Like I was obviously still talking to you. Like I remember the injury, and then I remember you getting hurt again, and then you struggling. 'Cause I knew Division I was your goal.
yeah,
You end up landing on Davenport. Talk about the other side of this now. So you get out of
yeah.
Rock Valley, you get through all the crap, and you still end up playing in the NCAA. Talk about that back half of your career.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, when I think it was my sophomore year at Rock Valley, Coach Heron, obviously doing his job for the recruiting process, but it's funny because my sophomore year, my brother was I want to say he was a GA at Davenport, but he was getting ready to go on his way out. Okay.
Hmm.
So, with the freshman year that I had, obviously my brother knew, with that year, all the stats, the accolades that came with that year. Coach Heward, who is now at Madonna University, he brought all those things up to the coaching staff. And then I get a call probably a week later from Coach Tidy at Davenport saying like, hey, man, you want to come back home type of thing. And I took a couple days to, think about it myself, talk to my family. And to be honest, for that recruiting process for me, it was, all the visits that I was going on, I was showing up in slings from my surgery. And so for me, after my freshman year, when I got that surgery, just seeing like that was the first time that I saw the business side to college baseball and the investments that they're doing, and Davenport kind of made that non-existent for me. They were very, very confident that I'd come back a better player, stuff like that. And then Coach Tidy telling me all those things, it's that clarity moment again. You know what I mean? After seeing the business side of it, and then you get that clarity moment of everything that you were doing was right, type of thing. And so yeah, Davenport came after me and went on my visit there. It was, I want to say, it might have been after. Actually, no, it was that more year fall. So that was when I was out. I drove back home, went on a visit, got to meet everybody, did the tour of the campuses and stuff like that. And I think I committed probably a week and a half, 2 weeks later for my sophomore year.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that was a good decision. I think it worked out the way it should have.
yeah,
I'm going to kick it over to Dave. But I would ask you, just because I want to ask you, would you change any of this? Hopefully I didn't break up there. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Yeah, I got you now. Yeah, so I couldn't hear you for a second. Can you hear me?
You talking to me?
Yeah, Nick, can you hear me okay? I
Yeah,
lost you.
yeah.
Yeah, would you change any of this?
To be honest, no, man. I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason. And so for me personally, I enjoyed all 4 years of college baseball. I got everything that I wanted out of it. Went through a lot to learn in a life aspect to things that, even being out of college baseball now, there's life lessons that, you just don't forget type of thing. And so I would not change anything. Me coming back home, me, going out to Rockford, Illinois as a 18-year-old boy. So that's shout out to everybody around me who made that experience fun, enjoyable. We got to go out on a good year last year with Davenport and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. And like I said, man, it's one of those things where now that I'm out of the game, like, do I miss it? I do. But I also, like I said, everything happens for a reason, man. So got to trust that.
Yes, sir. Big Dave, let's go to David Mitchell's mailbag, baby. Fire me up.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, what you went through is definitely not easy, and thank you for sharing your story. And it
Yeah,
just
sure.
shows a lot about you and your perseverance and resilience of just finding little things that are bettering you, which shows a lot about you. I want to transition into a question here about mental health. So, what's the best way you check in with yourself before things get overwhelming?
Reflection. That was a big thing for me. I even do it now with just working and stuff like that. But um, if you told me to describe that in one word, I would have to say reflection. Just everything that the mental health. It's a important thing um, nowadays because this world is crazy, and at the end of the day, baseball is just the game. Like for me, I didn't realize that until late, to be honest, in my career. Because it didn't feel like a job, but it felt like it was something that I was labeled as, and that I had put extra pressure on myself, and then that created more you know anxiety, whatever. that comes with. And so like for me, I just started doing some reflections of, the positives, the negatives, where can I learn? How can I move forward? And then that's how I, kept that my mind in a good spot. So if there was one word, I would have to say reflection.
Yeah, I think that's important for anyone to do. Do you do that? Like, what's the timing of that? How do you know when you reflect? Do you do it a weekly thing? What do you do for that?
Yeah, so I mean, you can break it down to days, you can break it down to, to weeks, months, kind of however kind of want to do it, to be honest, man. Like if we're going off weeks, take the positives from the weeks, take the I wouldn't even say negatives, just places that you can improve on type of thing. So whether that's, for an athlete lifting outside of, hours or something like that, or going to the cages after hours, like those are things that I would reflect on, because I knew there was people that were doing it. And and for me it was just, sometimes sometimes if it was a bad day, I would reflect on that day. Like the one day that I had at practice, like I reflected on that day a lot, um, after it happened, because it was, one, out of character, and two, I you could say I made it that day about myself just with my injury and stuff like that. So as far as reflecting on that specific day, I felt, I was like, that was pretty selfish type of thing. And I could have, told Coach Aaron that I need 10 minutes to myself, and, got away from stuff for a little bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I said, man, that timing process, you can do it after days, you can do it after weeks, um, as far as reflecting on what you either did for that day or that week. So,
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, for sure. If someone is struggling with self-worth to their performance on the field or to their performance to their grades in the classroom as a student athlete, what advice would you give them to separate from that self-worth to the performance?
I think, I mean, for me personally, man, that question came with me maturing, um, because you get a 18-year-old kid coming in college baseball, you're playing against men now, type of thing, right? And that transition from high school ball to college ball is pretty big. So I mean, I got my introduction to college baseball. I could tell you my first AB of the fall was Jimmy Fairley, who was our number one, and that was my first AB, and I had to figure it out, type of thing. Which, shout out Jimmy, I still talk to him, but um, yeah, man, I think with that question, it's very diverse, for answer wise, if that makes sense, because like you
Yeah.
can you can do so many things with the self-worth, but I also think it comes from within, and not needing that clarification from people around you, type of thing. um and that transition, like, yes, it's a very hard thing mentally as an 18-year-old kid that's never done it. And I think that's where you just have to reflect on the people around you, and also reflect on the things that you're doing within those days, and just trust that. Because I mean, in baseball, you hear trust process a lot, but I mean, you gotta trust the process even off the field, with what you're doing. And so, for me, it was one of those things where, whether it was me, going to the cages by myself to get my mind away from stuff, or me enjoying a day off and being a kid, I think that's a big thing, is enjoy your times off the field as well, to kind of keep that, that balance of what you're there to do, but also have fun while doing that. So, um, that's what kept me, even kill, to be honest, as far as that. And that would be my advice to, a kid, say same position, right? Going out to Rock Valley. I mean, go out there, knowing what you're supposed to do, and, keeping that end goal in mind, but also enjoy while you're doing it, and understand that baseball is just a game, and that, life will go on, type of thing. And so you just gotta look forward to things like that. And then like I said, man, just keep on going. So
Yeah, man. I will tell you this, Nick. If I'm a young athlete listening today, this is awesome, man. So I
yeah,
appreciate it. It's been pretty cool as an NCSA guy getting connected with you through that, watching you grow over the years. It's awesome, dude. Like this is why we do this, right? Like I'm just gonna
yeah,
be
for sure.
honest with you. It's
I was just gonna
awesome,
say,
bro.
man,
It's
it's
awesome.
me and you go back. I think I was 15, 16 years old when you
Yeah,
first got
man.
in contact with
Yeah,
me. I
man.
remember
Now,
first. I
yeah,
remember
man.
first time talking to you. I was getting out of practice. I think I was like 15 years old. Getting in the car, told my dad I got a call with this NCSA guy, and then
Yeah,
my dad
man.
was on that call with us. So
Yeah, your dad's always been a cool dude. He always he knows ball, so it made those conversations easier. My point is, man, it's been fun watching you grow. It's fun watching you in the professional field now. I don't know. This is why we have the podcast to see guys get to where they want to get to. I
sure,
will get you to the rest of your Sunday here, but I want to thank you personally for everything you've meant to me as a player in the Rock Valley family, in the NCSA family, brother. It's awesome
for
to see
sure.
you shine, man. So I appreciate your time today.
I appreciate you guys. Like I said, man, shout out everybody at Rock Valley. It's cool that we got three boys from Rock Valley on this thing, so it was fun. But I
Amen.
appreciate you guys for having me.
Amen. God is good. David Mitchell, bring us home, baby.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, shining some light. Um, you're impacting a lot more people than you know. So thank you for coming
Yeah,
on.
of course. Thank
Amen.
you for having me, man.
Amen, baby. Well, above all else, bear down. No, I'm just kidding. Keep going, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday, guys.
Yep. Later, guys.